This is Puffin's engine. There are a few daily checks we can do to make sure that you're going to have a reliable run from the engine and won't run into trouble. Anyone who's been on the diesel engine course will know the phrase wobble to remember this. So we start off with W, and that's water. This is the water header tank. It's also the heat exchanger. The cap on top shouldn't be removed when the engine's hot, because you'll get a spray of coolant. Remove the cap, pull it out, and you'll see in the top there's a layer of coolant. If that looks low, you can top it up with fresh water or ready mixed coolant, whichever's available. Towards the back of the engine bay you can see the grey pot with a clear lid. That's the seawater strainer, and it's above the waterline, so you can take that off without having to adjust the seacock. That's easily accessible from the back. If you go round, there's a panel to pull out. Once you've looked at the water, we can move on to the oil. That's on the left side of the engine as you look here, and this dipstick here. So pull it out, wipe it down, and you'll see again, like Kestrel, there's a lower and a maximum mark in the hashed areas. When it's clean, pop that back in the dipstick hole, all the way down and out, and we can see plenty of oil up to the top mark. So pop that back in the hole and move on to the next check. We check the belt here. There's only one on Puffin, so again we can twist it through 90 degrees. If we can't twist it anymore, then it's tight enough. If you find it loose, then you can tighten it with this slider at the bottom of the alternator, and if it looks frayed or worn, you can replace it with the new belt that's in the engine spares, and they're stored on the starboard side of the saloon underneath the bunk. The second B is for bilge. Checking those is relatively difficult on Puffin because of the battery, but you can see down there is the bilge compartment, and we're looking for fuel, oil, water or coolant. If any of those are there, have a good look and see if you can find the leak. Moving on to L, we look around the engine bay and check there are no loose connections or any obvious leaks. This is also a good opportunity to check the fire extinguisher and make sure the needle here is in the green region. Finally, we move on to E, exhaust, and when we start the engine we can check that there's water coming out of the exhaust and that the engine's being cooled. So when you're putting in the steps on Puffin, it's really important that you make sure you get the top and the bottom in to make sure they're safe. So start with the steps here, lift them into place, slide the bottom in, and then the screwdriver goes in the bottom here, and just push the steps forward. You might just need to lean your foot on them to make sure that the screwdriver goes right in the hole, and make sure that the lip is on top of the steps at the top here, and that way they can't come out.